Hello and welcome to Tonalist Painting with M. Francis McCarthy. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy, and I am bringing you a study today called Creek at Dusk. And this will be one of these cases where I'm going to bring you the study this week, and then the larger version. I did this as a 12 by 16 vertical as well. I'll be bringing you that next week, and I'm pretty happy with this painting. It's actually painted after some reference that I shot on well, it's about half a year ago, a trip to England, and I guess it's really about this kind of purplish sky color kind of thing. Anyway, it's recent, and so I'm sharing it with you. As you can see, we are working on top of the burnt sienna ground, and that's something I'm still very much into. Although I can see getting back into the burnt sienna. There's a lot of flexibility with the burnt sienna that may or may not be present with the burnt umber. It's hard to say. Either way, the burnt umber is different, and I was working on the burnt sienna for I don't know the last 7 years, so it's a nice change, and sometimes you need a change. So there you go. Today is Sunday, the 18th of June. Here in New Zealand, we're getting very close to the solstice, first day of winter, which of course will be your guys' first day of summer. I hope you guys are all having a beautiful, wonderful summer up there. It's starting to get pretty cold down here, but hey, our day will come, our day will come. As far as what's going on in the studio, I gave you guys a sort of a report yesterday on a crash and burn that had happened last week, so I won't revisit that. But yesterday I was working on a second pass on a piece I'm calling Afternoon Walk, and it's basically just a path with some kind of bushes around it, and an interesting sky. I don't know if there's enough there to hold. Well, it's a decent painting. I think it's really the sky that's carrying it, but of course you've got a path too, so you never know. I do these things, and I also last week started working up reference for another series of paintings. I've got like 8 done, and I'm trying to push the reference into more into some different tonal territory. I've had some pretty good success with that, and in some cases I might even be inspired or influenced by a painting, an old master's painting, and I may try and push my reference into sort of that sort of zone prior to painting my painting from the reference image that I took. I'm always manipulating my reference extensively, but sometimes I get even more carried away. And honestly, I think sometimes even if that reference image might look a little garish on its own, as far as stimulus for a painting, it can be really good to do that. And so I'm always trying to push things a little further. And I guess touching on what I was talking about with this crash and burn last week, my intuition was firing off, and that things were going badly, and were going to go badly even before I started it. And the study, it had a nice little quality to it, but it's only a little 5 by 5 inch study, and there's a lot of things that function okay at that 5 by 5 inch size, or the 5 by 7 size even, that once you blow them up, it's all wrong, and this painting was so wrong, and as you can see, I'm still not totally over it, but I'm working on it. It's gone. The only thing that'll be left of it will be this recording of me talking about it, so maybe I'd better just shut up. So we did a also we yesterday did day 5 of 25 Days of Tonalism Volume 2. I can see quite a lot of people hitting on that, and it is not no surprise. The Georgian S always gets a lot more attention, and well, there's some Georgian S's I haven't done studies of yet, but as far as his very best things go, I've probably done a study of everything of his that's really remarkable. But at some point in the future, I've indicated here before, when I get to these 5x7 panels that I have, a pretty good sized box of these panels in 5x5s, I plan on stepping up to 7x10 and 6x6, I think, possibly 7x7. We'll see. That'll become my new study size, and I may revisit some of these Georgian S's at that point in time as well. Also, I've been on Pinterest. I know I mentioned this briefly, possibly yesterday or last week. Pinterest has been throwing a lot of Francis Murphys at me that I didn't know were around, and I don't believe there's any one site that features all of Francis Murphy's work. It'd be great if somebody who was real dedicated could get on that. That'd be super. But meanwhile, it's kind of exciting, you know. I have noticed quite a lot of similarity in his approach to composition. He's very much into what we call a seesaw, you know, which is you have a bigger thing on one side, a smaller thing on the other, and a pond in the middle. And there's people in the modern tonalist world that have, you know, that do that all the time as well, and that would be like Dennis Sheehan, and yours truly as well. I am very fond of the seesaw type composition. With good reason. It's balanced and it works, and so when something works, you do it all the time. I was a little surprised actually to see how much Francis Murphy had used it, and it's almost like he's in some cases doing the same scenes over and over as well too, which is encouraging to me, since I like to do that as you know too, and I like to do the same scenes repeatedly. Not, you know, this week I do that scene and then next week I do that scene, but over a period of years, you know, I'll revisit things, and it's interesting and pretty exciting because you're always changing as a painter, so you know the paintings are going to be different, and it's kind of an interesting way of measuring your, I don't know, sometimes it's progress, sometimes it seems like we slip a little bit backwards, and I know it's something I talked about a little bit yesterday too, where you make, I actually had a pretty good run of a month or two when I was working on the top of a bunch of veiled paintings. I had a lot of successes there, and was getting pretty used to it, but recently I've had some that are just okay or just alright, and some that are just abject failures, and you know, what can you do? You just got to keep plugging along, you know. And sometimes, believe it or not, I sell those failures. You know, if people come in the studio and get on it, well, I'll sell it to them. But more often than not, I'm getting more editorial as I progress. And if I don't like something like this one I did last week, I didn't give it any time to exist as a painting. I just says nay. I covered it up with burnt umber, and it's gone. As far as what I'm going to be getting into in the week coming up, I've got like 4 or 5 going right now, and it's sort of interesting that let's see, I started one that was like this riverbank sort of thing that actually it has these also two, I guess they're poplars, these very tall conical type trees in it, again based on some England reference, and I'm actually real happy with the way that one turned out, and that one was potentially a little iffy. I generally don't like having the whole front portion of a painting like this one is like you're on the opposite side of the river, so you're seeing a bit of river, and then the whole bank is covering the whole painting. But it does work. It's okay. I'm happy with it. And there were some improvements I made over the study I did for that. So um, I guess what I was getting to is that I've been starting paintings and finishing paintings. One day I might finish one, the next day I might start one, which is a little different for me. A lot of times I'll just go in and do 5 starts, 5, just the color pass on 5 paintings or so, and then as those dry, I'll come back and start doing the second pass, and in some cases a third. But I've been kind of mixing it up. Just I think this is kind of a byproduct of the fact that I did. I think it was 18 5x7 studies, and we discussed those over the last several weeks. And this would have been one of them, actually, that we're looking at now. This would have been one of those 18, the ones that looked really good. And I am quite happy with the study we're looking at today. It's got some compositional weirdness. I'm not certain about that bush in the middle distance, but there it is. It's there, and I think it does work. But there's a lot of other. I'm really happy with the sky and the colors and the river and the grasses, and all in all, I think it's working okay. And actually having that bush there is better than just having nothing there. Just the darkness of the trees that would have been semi-silhouetted against the sky. So it's serving a function. It's okay. Anyway, I can see we're getting kind of close to the end here. If you like my channel, click subscribe. We're like 200 something subscribers now. I'd like to get up to 300 and eventually 10,000. See if we can find 10,000 fans of Tonalist work out there. That'd be awesome. But either way, even if it was only 1 or 2 of you, I'd still be doing it. And that it's I really appreciate you guys tuning in and following what I do, and I'm happy to share it. And it's also neat that we can use the video camera technology and the YouTube technology to share our work, the process of making it. This is something that artists in the past couldn't do as easily, and I believe in taking advantage of it. Also, you can go to my site, landscapepainter.co.nz. You can follow my blog through there. On that blog will be a nice high-resolution version of this painting for you to check out, and 2 detail shots. So go check that out, and I will be back next week with another 25 Days of Tonalism Volume 2 and another one of my paintings, the big one of this. So we'll see you next week. Meanwhile, take good care and stay out of trouble.